So good morning, everybody. And as I was already laughing with Aria, and that I'm Elgin Walker, and I am the substitute teacher for today. So you treat your substitute well. All right. So I know that Frank was actually going to be interviewing Steve, but he had another commitment or something. So I'm going to step in and do my best. First of all, I like to I like to just start off real quick. Anybody, one or two people, keep it short. Can somebody tell me a win that you had, say, either last week or over the weekend? Doesn't have to be real estate related, just some type of win you had, and don't make it 5 minutes. Make it 20 seconds. Okay. Anybody? Anybody?
Here we go, Elgin. I'm finally
Hey.
feeling better and up out of bed after about 2 weeks of
Oh yeah.
sick, so that's a good thing.
That's the really good thing. Yeah, I was starting to worry about you, man. I wasn't gonna sure I was gonna recognize you when you got up out the bed. That's good, man. Glad you're feeling better. Yeah, I went out to so I was out in Florida. I mean my best friend, college roommate called me the last minute and he was having some kind of medical issue and needed somebody to come out. So flew out at the last minute, but I hung with him for a week and I'm proud and glad to say his procedure and everything went well, so he's recovering. But we, of course, still had fun. You can't sit down with your best friend, a college roommate, and not just laugh and joke the whole time. So the only thing was he couldn't drink, so I drank for him, and we had a great time.
Attaboy, Elgin, baby.
Anybody got anything else? Well,
I
if
have
not,
a I
go ahead.
I had a closing and most importantly a satisfied client, a repeat business. So I'm building my business one client at the time for the last 25 years, and all my clients basically are raving fans, always introducing, and I'm blessed without doing a single flyer advertising, be in business and surviving in this driving and ever-changing market.
Well, I love that, man. I love all of that,
I'm blessed.
including the dialogue. That's great, man.
Thank
Fantastic.
you.
Congratulations. Go ahead,
Thank you.
Steve.
Well, last Friday was the end of the month, right? So two things about that. One, our closing revenue was on the upswing for the second month in a row compared to a flat January and February, which is traditional in our business, but I never get used to it in 34 years. But so I'm grateful for the upswing and the closing revenue. So that tells me that we're either doing the right thing at the right time in the right place, or we've got a lot of realtors that are out there working and selling properties that we're aligned with. So I'm grateful for both. And I get to celebrate my dad's 85th birthday yesterday. So I'm grateful for that.
Fantastic. I saw that on Facebook. I even wished your dad a happy birthday, but I'm sure it got lost in the other
I saw that, brother.
thousand.
Thank you for that. Yep.
Happy birthday.
Yep.
No, that's fair. That's a blessing to have your dad after 85
Sure
years.
is.
That's a
Yeah.
big time.
My dad
blessing.
is 87, and I always get a chuckle when somebody take care of their parents. Being that my mom passed away, but it's what a blessing. As a matter of fact, I have a home office. This facility is in my backyard. They're working there just to make sure I'm close to him. And I'm so glad, Steve, that you take care of your dad, take care of your parents, because they are the best things that happen to all of us. They are the only ones that really unconditionally love you and care for you and give their very best. So really, we are blessed if you have our parents. If not, adapt a parent, be nice to them, and really give them the utmost love, because I think they deserve it. Thank you.
And if nothing else, Aria, there are people out there, if you've lost one or both of your parents, there are people out there would love to have the love of somebody,
Me?
that would love to love. No, I'm serious. I was around a lot of elders this past weekend, and it was clear that they were missing their sons and daughters and whatnot, and we just put some love on them, and it was fulfilling. So a lot of people out there worthy of your time and effort and love. So
absolutely. I
Well,
lost one mom, but I grew up actually dozen more. Mother's Day is very interesting because I deliver flowers throughout the day because of the same things. Thanks for sharing that, Steve.
yeah.
Well, I had to postpone a lunch with this guy named Steve Korn because I've had a really busy weekend. I had 2 escrows open, and one was Nate just saying, you got to keep calling your referrals. You got to keep calling your referrals. And I got a client into a Lennar Peak 1, and I got 3 buyers actually right around the corner from Steve at PRMG. get pre-approved with Chris. Three dudes, three young 20-year-olds pre-approved together to buy their first home together and get out of renting. So that's where I'm at on a Monday morning.
Well, no, you should be on a pretty good high. Congratulations. That's great. That's
Thank
great.
you.
So see, that put a smile on everybody's face. We all got wins, man. We all got wins. So, we starting off Monday with wins. You can't get much better than that. So, hey, I want to get into starting. So for those, as you guys know, that our special guest is Steve Korn, and Steve and I have known each other, I don't know, ever since I came to the Santa Clarita area. So that's probably been about 20 years. I think I've been out here 20 years, 22. However the hell, it's been a long time. And I want you guys to know that although, as Steve mentioned, about his escrow, which he'll talk more about, but that he, as I always say when I talk with Steve, he is much more than an escrow officer. There are people that you have that you'll meet in certain areas of their business, and you can honestly say that this is what they do, but this is not who they are. Well, Steve Korn is one of those people. So Steve has great insight, not only on the marketplace, but he has great insight on business, which helps him keep his pulse on our marketplace because he broadens his horizons, which is something we should all do. We should all not just stay in the box. So I know that Steve kind of had some thoughts and some comments that he wanted to start off with here, and I kind of talk about his history a little bit and what he's feeling in the marketplace. So Steve, take it away, brother. I tried, but you got one of them long time intros, man, where I took up all the time introducing you, brother.
Well, looking at the participants this morning, it looks like I'm pretty familiar with and blessed to be friends with many of you. And so for those that I'm not so familiar with, this hopefully will be enlightening. But so what I'm seeing, and now don't forget, in the real estate industry, we have what we call a 10-year cycle, okay? And so Newhall Escrow, my company, is celebrating 61 years serving the greater Los Angeles, Southern California area. We work border to border, so it doesn't matter where we are. We've got clients in all counties, going down the Mexican border and up to the Oregon border. So we do business all over the state. And as such, my reach is pretty broad. I speak to people and I take an opportunity to ask people what's going on in their market. I mean, to give you an example, this morning I was ordering flowers for my daughter's 8-year anniversary with Newhall Escrow Company. She works remotely in Florida in our company here in California, and there's a florist in her hometown. And the owner of that company thanked me for my continual support because I order flowers on the regular for Chelsea and different, anniversary, birthday, that kind of stuff, right? And so this lady asked me what I do, and I said, well, in your part of the country, an attorney does what we do in California. And I told her, kind of simplified it. And I said, we have when you buy or sell a piece of real estate, I handle all the money and the paperwork. She says, oh. She says, well, I got that. She says, I buy businesses and real estate all the time, but I don't need you guys right now. She says, I said, how's your market out there right now? Which I already know, but I wanted to engage her in a conversation. And she says, well, from what perspective are you asking me? I said, from your perspective as a business owner, how are you feeling about your business climate in your community? Now, that started a conversation that could have gone for an hour, okay? And I mean, just right at the top, if I was a realtor asking that question of that person doing that kind of business, I can almost guarantee you that if I put her into a regular pattern of communication, we'd be connecting on a rather large level going forward. And that's my my message today, Elgin. I don't want to jump ahead of your agenda, but what I'm seeing is that for those that are working smartly within their own wheelhouse, people are working and they're putting deals together. And that's a very significant statement. Look, we all spend a fair amount of time in forums like this, listening to others talk about what they're doing to make a difference in their business. It's not one size fits all. What may be a great strategy for John or Matt or Aria may not be a great strategy for Sid or Michael or Chris or Elgin. So the key is that whatever your wheelhouse is, you got to find that out. That's what your job is. What are you really good at doing? What are you comfortable at doing? What makes you feel good at the end of that process? Okay. Is it complimenting somebody? Is it calling a friend from college that you haven't talked to in a while and checking in and see how they're feeling and what they're doing, what's going on in their life? You know, what is it that you're good at doing? Are you good at calling expireds? Are you good at calling NODs? Are you good at knocking on doors? Are you really good at creating a farm and being effective in that farm? Are you really good at open houses? What are you good at? Once you find out what you're good at, I want you to take a second and just imagine what your life would be like if you were to magnify your effort in that situation 3 or 4x. Just think about that for a minute. You know what I mean? And there's always time to add to your schedule, to improve or to do more of something. And I would argue that if you say, well, I don't have enough time as it is, okay, got it. Well, then let's look at your calendar and figure out where to find time to move certain things around so you can open up time to plug in what you're really good at doing.
I like, you know what, Steve, it's funny that you said, I like that. And I think that, I'll speak for myself, is that particularly the longer that you're in the business, like a lot of times when you're in the business for a short period of time or shorter period of time, you're wailing, you're trying to figure it out. You're trying to figure out what you can do, what you like to do, et cetera, and all of that. But I do believe that as realtors in particular, we're always looking for the shiny object. We're always looking for what's next, the silver bullet, what's easy, what's going to do this, what's going to do that. When the truth of the matter is, kind of like what Arya was mentioning earlier, you build a book of business. You build a book of business, and if you can build your book of business around people that love you, respect you, want you to succeed, you want them to succeed, you do want to create raving fans, you can, what I call Zillow proof your business. You know, you don't have to have you don't have to be in the microwave society. You don't have to answer each and every internet lead that comes in 35 seconds and then start sending them over. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that when you get old and crabby like me, that building your business a little bit and being able to actually run it is a little bit different. And to me, that's a blessing. But I will say though, the point I was making that Steve was saying is something that you are being successful at. Like, look at your closings, look at your lead, your book of business, and whatever it is. Like if you're looking at your closings and the majority of your closings say come from cold calling, but you're spending all of your marketing budget on the internet, but your closings are coming from cold call. I'm not telling you to get rid of the internet stuff. I'm telling you to increase the cold calling. And you know what? That's also vice versa. If if because such and such trainer said knock on 50 doors a day, and you're knocking and you're beating your head up against it, you hate it, and it's hot and it's cold and whatever it is, and you're not getting that done as far as closings, and your closings are coming from whatever systems you've put into place as far as the internet, et cetera, go. Heck, man, put more money into that. Stop stressing on the doors. Keep the heels on your shoes and the holes off your shoes, and do whatever it takes. So let me ask you, Steve, because again, as you're talking with other business people, that are there certain things that you are seeing and hearing from agents today that are generating more either results and or activities? What does today's successful agent that you're dealing with look like?
Great question. So I'm in the middle of a mastermind series with agents that I mentor and coach, and I can tell you the results of my last 4 meetings. And I did a survey, if you will, of kind of leading into what I commented about. And hands down, this is the top 4 activities that are generating the most business for people. And I'm going to circle back on one that didn't come up that I think should be number 1. But it was 16 agents, 4 per meeting over a month period of time. Number 1, open houses, and the pre and post open house activity follow-up. So the setup for the open house, the actual open house, and the post open house follow-up by far was the top. Second was prospecting, and I'm going to come back to that in a minute. Third was farming. Lots of tools out there. Now, I want to say something about farming for a second. My new Mastermind series is on the topic of communicating with non-owner occupied properties and bringing value to those individuals. Your favorite title company should have the ability to give you 100 at a whack, 100 property addresses and contact information in your respective farm. If you don't have one, pick one, right? And then we can talk about how to approach those people. But just keep in mind, farming and non-owner occupieds, okay? And then the fourth thing was, believe it or not, calling expireds and NODs. Just it flowed to the top. Now, those are the four things that I heard over and over and over and over again that were bringing success to people, okay? Now, I believe, and I'll take this to the last breath of my body, the number one activity that anybody can do is to make a phone call to somebody that knows them, likes them, loves them, or trusts them. One of the four, preferably multiples of that four, and have a human conversation about life. And when you have that conversation, you be prepared to respond to that question. Well, gee, Elgin, it's great to hear what's going on in your life. Excuse me, let me reverse that. It would be like Elgin talking to me, and I'd be answering all his questions, and I'll say, well, enough about me, Elgin, what's up with you? And then he would have the opportunity to say something very, very succinctly about the real estate market. Like, I'm spending almost all of my time educating buyers and sellers why it's a great time to sell or buy real estate. When I'm not doing that, I just visited my friend in Florida. We had a great time catching up. My kids are doing right. I got grandkids. I'm getting ready to go here with my wife. I just celebrated a birthday. I'm feeling good. I'm working out 4 times a week. We lost our little doggy, whatever it is, it's that. But otherwise than that, I'm just very grateful for what I've got. And so, gee, Elgin, tell me, what do you have going on this coming summer? And just put it right back onto the person you're talking to. Now, what you've done when you said, when you planted that seed about real estate, great time to buy or sell, what you just did is you just messed with their mind in an honest way because you planted a seed. And either they're doing one of 3 things. They're thinking about what the hell you just said. Like, did he just say it's a great time to buy or sell real estate? Okay, that's one. Or 2, they're going to stop you in your tracks and say, wait a minute, did you just say it's a great time to buy or sell real estate? And you say, yeah. And if that happens, you better be ready to respond, with something that's compelling. You don't need to be a rocket scientist. But if that happened to me and we were talking about it and I said it's a great time to buy or sell real estate, and they'll just say, wait a minute, what did you just say? I'll say, yeah, it's a great time to buy or sell real estate. Well, and he has, well, tell me more. I'll say, well, look, right now in Sacramento Valley, we got 383 listings. This time last year, we had 412. So not much different, right? But what is different is more pressure in the market because of rates and whatnot. But you know what we're doing? We're not talking about rates anymore. We're talking about payment. What can people afford? We're trying to get people into homes. And there's a lot of ways that the industry is adapting to what we're seeing out there. So forget about the pressures of the rate. That seems to be paralyzing everybody. So when we get the conversation to move off a rate, now we got some movement. Now we got some creativity. Now we got some open-mindedness. They go, didn't think about that, right? Okay, now we move on and we continue the conversation. It's not about real estate. It's about a personal connection that has a little bit about real estate, right? And you're always going to keep asking questions. And then the third thing they may do is they may just end the phone call with you and go, God, I can't believe he said it's a great time to buy and sell real estate. And they can pick the phone up and call you and say, I can't stand it. What did you mean by that? And that's when you're going to have another opportunity to show up. Now, that is what that phone call is all about. And you stretch yourself every day to be here, go there, pick up this, go get that, drop this off, pick this up. Why don't you stretch yourself to make 5 or 7 connectives? I say a connective meaning you're actually talking to somebody, okay? Not just calling and hanging up. It's an actual conversation. So the best advice I got for us in our busy world is prepare that list the night before. Okay, I don't care if your CRM's up to date or not. Get a pad of a notebook paper out and start writing down names. Look at your phone, for crying out loud. Start in the A's, but commit to making 5 or 7. And if 5 or 7 are easy, make it 10. And when you're driving from your house to the post office, make a call. When you leave the post office to go to pick up the whatever it is, make a call. When you leave from there to go, make a call. Now, I've had people push back and say, over the years, I've coached many, and I've had this one gal say to me, and I got a little frustrated because I kept talking to her about the phone call. And I know she's capable of phone calls because I said, you got a mom, you got a sister, you got sons, you call all of them, don't you? Yeah, I do. Then why can't you call people that want to hear from you, from your past, from that are in your sphere of influence? And she says, because I'm not good at it. I go, what do you mean you're not good at making phone calls? I'm just not good at it. I don't feel I'm good at it. I said, okay, then replace it with something else. What are you good at? She said, I'm good at one-to-ones. And we were having a Starbucks. I said, great, then do that. Every day, invite somebody to a Starbucks in the morning and somebody to Starbucks in the afternoon, or somebody to lunch, or somebody to happy hour, and do that every single day. You do that 20 times a day, Monday through Friday. You just made 20 great connections with people that need to hear from you and want to be a part of your life and want to hear what's going on. So I'm telling you, and that, in my personal opinion, that's the money shot right there. That's what we should all be doing. Now, being prepared is the other key. And I don't think there's anybody on this screen I'm looking at that wouldn't be able to have a conversation. But just to clarify what I'm thinking, have some data in your head or on your phone or somewhere, even on a damn post-it note, I don't care, that allows you to be that professional. When you're walking through a market with your name badge on, and somebody identifies you as a realtor, go, oh, you're a realtor. Yeah. How's the market? Well, okay. Now you've got the opportunity to show up as a professional or throw up as somebody that doesn't know what the hell they're doing. So what do you think you should do? Wake up in the morning, update your figures, understand what your market looks like. If you're an expert in the San Fernando Valley, pick a town. If it's Granada Hills, have the data that goes from today to last year at the same time. You know, what's the average days on market last year this time versus this time this year? How many listings with pools? How many listings with views? Whatever. Just be able to have some data to share when you're asked. But the big shift in the conversation is get away from rate because it's on everybody's mind. You know, so we're not focused on rate anymore. It's not something that we know it's there. We know it's an issue, but we're talking about payment. What can you afford to pay? And we'll focus on that for a minute because you marry the price, you just date the rate. And we're going to work that down the mark as the rates adjust. And so that's my 2 cents on the things that I see working for people. And the one thing I wish was at the very top of that list of the four I shared with you before is that phone call.
So, Steve, let me ask you this on the flip side of that, because you've been around for so long and you see so many agents that are not only still here and some that are no longer in the business. What do you think are maybe one or two traits, particularly in a market such that we're in, that agents do that they shouldn't be doing?
Spending money on leads that they don't work or won't get them anywhere. That's number one. And number two, buying the next shiny thing that they think is going to bring them success versus getting themselves out there and getting into the trenches doing something. You know, I call it a money making activity, Elgin. So if it's something that, as a real estate professional, to whatever degree you're comfortable doing it, fill your day with money making activities. Sitting in a classroom is not a money making activity, right? Spending a half hour with us this morning is a great activity because you're going to learn something, take it away, and put it and apply it to your life right away. But I see people spending way too much money on things that they're not prepared. Now, at different stages of your career, it may make sense to start investing in certain things, but I just see people are trying to imitate other people when they're not on the same cycle of time in the business and expertise. So I would say go back to what you're good at doing and start small.
You know what? You know what? In my opinion, when Steve says that, like in regarding the internet leads or spending too much money on leads or spending just too much money, period. See, to me, that's the mindset of a business owner and not just the mindset of a realtor. Just not the mindset of a salesperson. See, when you take control of your business and not just look at it as a salesperson, then you have to look at your profit and loss, or you should be. You have to look at what is actually generating revenue and making profit. Because a business is supposed to make profit. If the business isn't making profit, you have a hobby, I found that very profound that Steve would say that because he's a business person. From your standpoint, Steve, from what you're seeing and hearing, before we take a few minutes, because I guess I'm running low on time, before we take a few minutes for questions, is where do you see the real estate market from all your experience? Where do you see the market possibly going, say, over the next 12 to 18 months?
Good question.
What are you seeing?
I'm preparing myself and my company to have to be in a year from now to be in the same market we're in today. Similar numbers of listings, interest rates in the same situation. I don't see. So I'm preparing myself, my staffing, my mentality, and of course, okay. So take myself out of my role as an escrow company owner, escrow officer, and person that's going to be spending time with John and Matt and Michael and others talking about strategy for how to make the best sense of what we're dealing with now. And really what it comes down to is up in your value. What value do you bring to people, right? So Elgin, answer your question, a year from now and 18 months from now, I am preparing myself to be in the same exact situation we're in today. And if I'm wrong and we have more listings and lower interest rates, okay. But if I'm right, then I'm prepared. And I've prepared myself accordingly so that we can survive and thrive in this market, in any market. I got in this market in the worst of times, man. I mean, I get in this industry, 1990, man. Can you imagine? Our industry was in such a state of influx. Interest rates were around 18%, and we were in an economic downturn like you've never seen before or since. And we've got short sales. I learned my trade doing short sales, man. I mean, that was where it was, and foreclosures, and so it was distress. It was a time when you would walk up to anybody, and it's almost like you're talking to somebody that was in one of those people that were getting ready to lose their home, right? So I'm just saying, if you prepare for what you know now, and you can tool yourself in your business accordingly and be successful and bring lots of value, and we're in the same boat a year and a half from now, you're golden.
I like that. I like that. And I actually agree. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot difference between this time this year and this time next year, because I don't see like 10,000 homes coming on the market at one time. I don't see, unless there's some event of some sort, a catastrophe of some sort to really change some things. And yeah,
Elgin, if we as an industry came together and got the narrative to understand and get the narrative off the interest rate situation and talked about what makes sense and what the payment looks like, you'll get some sellers off the dime that are sitting there on the fence because they're fixated on that 3.25 interest rate that they're sitting on. So there's lots of strategies in there, but as an industry wide, if we came together and had that narrative to get away from the interest rate conversation, right? And there's so many other things to talk about: equity position, what your end game is. Is your end game being in Florida with your grandkids and going to play golf every day, or sitting here worrying about getting rid of a 3.25% interest rate? We can find you a place in Florida that you can afford with the equity you've got. Then what's the problem, right? We know that people are fixated on the rate, so we got to find a way as an industry to move off that.
Great comment. Great comment. So hey, listen, you guys. I know it's 10:30, so if you guys have to leave, feel free. But I'm opening it up for questions. Does anybody have certain questions or comments they would like to make? And Steve, I want to thank you, obviously, for hanging in for a few minutes. But
Sure.
As always, brother, I appreciate your words, great words of wisdom. So who we got that has the Aria? Go ahead, my man.
Steve, thanks so much for word of wisdom. I feel like some of them will definitely words from God. With always plan your very best, do your very best, and of course know your odds, and of course have the mindset for the worst. So I like that, because sometimes we always think that everything is gloomy, and then we just hit the first wall, and then everything is falling apart. So having that mental preparedness, I think I love that mindset. Being a business owner, being wise, and most importantly, having the wisdom of the ages. Is with the NAR lawsuit, of course, our industry is about to change, what is your perspective, your advice that you have so that now agents that they are part of your team or listening to you, they are prepared for creating really a massive positive outcome out of something that maybe they don't know. Is it good? Is it bad? They don't have your experience. What is your take on that?
Well, there's three parts to that. I'll keep them quick. Number one is be firm in your understanding of what is happening and what's not happening. So what I would like to suggest is, as a real estate professional, when you're asked about the NAR commission lawsuit, my response would be there has been some activity at the national level with respect to how consumers pay brokerages for representation. However, we are not sure how the effect of that's going to be on our local community as of yet. So by guessing what might happen is not going to solve anything. We're waiting for the actual chips to fall so that when that happens, we'll be able to adjust accordingly and continue to offer value to our tribe of satisfied clients. Okay. And the second thing is keep your head focused on what your job is, which is to provide value and representation. And when you come from that place, Aria, and you are over delivering in value to your client, okay, they will understand that you've got their back, and they will see and have an assurance in their heart and their head that you're there for them. If they continue to plug on that commission situation, you may want to reevaluate if they're a good fit for you. And I will finish with this comment about that. Every single person that sells real estate should have in their mind a image of what their model buyer and seller looks like. Have that burned into your mind and heart. And there's two reasons for that. So when they walk by you, you'll recognize them. And when you see somebody that's not them, you're cutting your losses quickly and moving on. Okay?
Thank you so much for the word of advice. I think the nutshell was do addition by subtraction. Everybody's a client. Thank you.
Welcome.
Hey, Matt, I see you had your hand up. So go ahead, and then right after that, Sid, I see you with your hand up. You go up next, my brother.
Yeah, thank you, Steve, as always. I mean, as probably one of the newer guys here, you know, to the game, I think that what I've done in the last year is really just try to be in rooms like this with people that know more than me and just listen and learn. One thing that stuck with me recently is something that Nate said that is, I think, very true, and it makes you braver to do the things that you feel like you need to do, like pick up the phone, make the calls, door knock. And it's Nate saying over and over again, it's become a mantra in our meetings, just because your motivation is business doesn't mean your intention is bad. And I think that's a really big thing, especially when you're door knocking, which is kind of what I've been doing recently. It's like Steve has been saying, like, you know, what are you good at? And I actually realized the things that I wasn't good at and started eliminating those and really focusing more on what I am good at. And, you know, Nate has seen that, like, I am kind of, whenever he says, you know, do this, do that, he's like, it's okay. Don't worry about what I'm saying to you, Matt, because I know that you have a plan. And it's because I've eliminated certain things that I feel like weren't on track with what I needed to do and started to focus more on the things that I need to do. And then the best part of it for someone like me that's newer to the game is if I don't know what to do, I go to lunch with somebody like Steve Korn, or I reach out to Nate, or I reach out to Elgin or somebody that knows better. And I say, hey, what do you think? Because again, this is a brainstorming group. So don't forget how to brainstorm with people when you feel stuck, because if you're in it for the long haul, you have support all around you. It's only a phone call away.
That's excellent, my man. I appreciate that. That's very good. Sid, excuse me.
Hey, Sid.
Sid, go ahead.
Hey, Steve. Hey, thanks so much for sharing. I'm here in Portland, Oregon, and I do want to kind of build on a lot of things you're saying, but use your title and escrow officers. Use that team, whoever you have a relationship with. I utilize them, for example, when I have clients that want to get a cash offer on their house. And oftentimes the house is a complete thrasher, but I know that my builder contacts would love to buy that house. And so I recently used our title company to get a list of builders that are in the area that are active, not just a list of builders, but your title rep knows who's actually working. And so they gave me this list of builders, and I basically started, instead of cold calling them and just saying, hey, I've got this property, it's off market. and this seller wants to sell, but it's because of my title company and that list, I was able to get it under contract off market, utilizing that. And of course, that builds a great rapport with your title company. And also, they're excited because, the client's going to buy it and put 2 or 3 houses on one lot and, all that type of stuff. So I just want to encourage you, get in relationship with your title officers, and they've got a lot of tools available for you. They've got those data sets. They've got those lists of non-owner occupied properties that can be very, very powerful and effective for you. So that's just what I want to say. But I want to say that's the nugget of experience that I've learned that is very, very helpful, and I'm super grateful for it.
Well, so you
No,
got a
no,
nice little
thank
niche there, Sid. So keep it up, buddy, and keep pressing heavy and expand your brand and get out there and find other communities and neighborhoods around you that have that same situation and hammer it, man. Hammer it. You can create a whole lifetime of raving fans and successful transactions by focusing on that. So
Yes.
good for you.
Yes.
Good for you.
Anybody else have any comments or questions that they would like to ask Steve? Don't ask me nothing. I'm tired of talking. No, seriously though. If
I
there's
will say something about insurance. Elgin, just want to say something about insurance.
Oh yeah.
I'm oftentimes in a situation where I'm in a group of people where there's one of our really good friends who are, say, a farmer's agent or an insurance agent whose company has been affected by the insurance issue in the state of California. So Sid, that may exclude you, but in California, we've got a major issue. So what I'm trying to say is, in a polite way, there are lots of alternatives other than the FAIR plan in California. Okay. Now, my urging is, and I often have to suppress my comment, but there are insurance brokers that operate in the town in which you are doing business that have resources outside of the FAIR plan, outside of State Farm or Farmers or Allstate or Mercury or what other companies are limiting their writings or not writing at all. Okay, so do yourself a favor, align yourself with a well-known, respected insurance broker and have a conversation with him or her and find out what their resources are. And they change by the week. Okay, so it's really important to be in line with it. And if anybody's in the Santa Cruz Valley, San Fernando Valley, Kern County, Ventura County in this call, feel free to reach out to me and I can align you with my people to let you, so you know what tools are available to your clients and your existing clients who may call you, say, Matt, I can't believe my insurance policy increased by double, this year. What do I do? You got to have something to help them out with, right? So just if you're in that situation, let me know and I can hook you up.
It's fantastic. I'm in that situation. Hook me up.
No problem.
I'll talk to you about it later. My own
Okay.
insurance went up.
All right.
Good Lord. That being said, though, thank you guys. If there's no other questions or comments, I would just like to remind everyone here that we do know that although we may not like it, real estate is a contact sport. You got to make contacts. You got to be contacted. Some of you that may listen to some of my rhetoric on some of the videos and podcast things, I always like to say that, to always remember, no matter what's going on in your life, no matter what's going on currently, it's just a temporary condition. Things do change, but at the end of the day, it's a great life. So God bless everybody. Thank you guys for coming. Feel free to reach out to other people that other members of your team, other members in your organization, your business partners, and those business partners, whether they are at EXP or not, and invite them to this call. We're trying to put these things on Mondays to help each and every one of us with our mental mindset and our business skill set. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Thank you for letting me be your substitute teacher. We're going to get one of these other guys to come in here and talk next week. And look for on the winner's circle. If you guys are not, make sure that you plug your people into the winner's circle and the success team on Facebook, into the groups. We're putting information on there, not only of events, but we're putting other information on there that, again, also hope that they will help you and your business and your team, because you guys are not in this thing alone, man. We're all in this thing together, and we're all looking for each and every one of us to have success, and whatever that success looks like to you. So God bless you guys again. You'll get recordings of this. I appreciate each and every one of you, and We'll talk soon.
Cheers, everybody.
Thank you
Bye,
all.
fellas.
Have a
Take
great
it
week.
easy.
Thanks
Thank
for
you so
having me.
much, dude.
Everybody.